Hi, good morning, everyone. Right, thank you once again for joining the third in our series of webinars on security-driven networking. Right, as Kelly has mentioned, my name is Ching Ping, CP for short, and I'll be presenting today's webinar. And then after that, I will hand over to Daniel, who will show you a demo of our solution. All right. So before we go into the webinar proper, let's do a quick recap on what we have covered in the last two editions. So we started with secure SD-WAN, where we merged the requirements for optimizing WAN connectivity with the need to have security, better visibility, and control in the SD-WAN implementation. Right? Then last month we talked about how secure web gateways protect users against web attacks and empower your capabilities to significantly optimize and accelerate the network. So you can view the respective recordings for these sessions in the links shown here. Right? And today, we'll move deeper into your network in this journey on security-driven networking. We'll share how with the SD branch, right, or security-driven branch right, solution, you can improve visibility and control of your LAN access, right, to improve your security posture in the office. So today's webinar is on the topic of transforming your distributed enterprise network with SD branch. So just a quick background, right? Digital transformation is an ongoing effort in many organizations. So it's not just about the business, but also about how the organization's network keep up with these transformation efforts. So some of these initiatives can involve the branch officers, like getting them to be SaaS, software as a service applications, and cloud ready. Right? The objectives are to reduce WAN costs and to simplify operations through better integration. Right? So while this has been there has been much focus, right, recently on improving the WAN with SD-WAN solution, right, we should not be stopping at that. So after all, the WAN, LAN, and security at the office would be the responsibility of the same IT department. Right? And so what we should really focus on is to address these requirements in a holistic manner. So we're not just talking about the main office, but potentially branches, right, where IT support is team or only done remotely. Right? So this presents these challenges to the IT professionals who need, like yourselves, right, who need to manage and operate the branch networks. Right? There's a general lack of visibility into traffic types in the networks. Right? Without visibility, it will be difficult for network managers like yourselves to pinpoint problems, give the right attention and quality of service to applications in a network. Secondly, cyber security is also another challenge, right? As organizations embrace BYOD, cloud applications, etc., etc. So there's always a shift. There's already a shift in the architecture of enterprise networks, where we see local internet breakouts being more prevalent due to cloud adoption. So this is supported by SD-WAN technologies. And lastly, one of the promises of digital transformation is to drive improved productivity and lower operating costs. So by having a multitude of point products, right, will contribute to the problem rather than to solve them. Right? So there is a need to reduce the number of point products so that we can simplify operation and management of the office network. Right? So by addressing these challenges, right, IT and network managers will be in a better position to support their business users, your business users, and the company's digital transformation initiatives. Sorry, something is, I just want to make sure. The slides are moving. Kelly, are you seeing the same slide? Because it keeps jumping back.
Yeah, I am seeing the transform your distributed enterprise network slide right now.
Oh, okay. I've already jumped to this one because I didn't realize that it went back. Okay. So you should be looking at this slide called evolution of wide area networking at the branch, right? So we've discussed previously that SD-WAN improves and optimizes network performance. It also delivers cost savings by allowing businesses to opt for lower price internet bandwidth versus traditional WAN links. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this seems like my slide keeps jumping back. Okay, maybe let's do it this way. Kelly, can you help to advance the slide as we go along? It could be my internet connection here. All right.
Okay.
So we are at slide 7.
All right. Okay.
All right. Okay. Thanks. So secure SD-WAN itself, right, combines security with SD-WAN and delivers further improvements to businesses by providing visibility and security to SD-WAN. So by integrating next-gen firewall security with SD-WAN, secure SD-WAN, right, delivered by FORTINET, right, integrates both security and SD-WAN needs into a single device. Right? This offers easier operation and management to the network management team. So we've already seen that in the first webinar of our series 2 months ago, right? So next, Kelly, no, I think we've got to click one more back to the slide. Slide 7, click advance. Just click advance. Yes, correct. Okay, so yeah, with SD branch, we are we are now further integrating into the office network itself. So SD branch further consolidates and integrates SD-WAN, secure SD-WAN, right, by adding wired and wireless LAN network control into the same networking device. Next. Okay, so we started with the FortiGate, right, providing network security. FortiGate is well recognized by the industry to be a leader in the next-gen firewall and UTS space. Next. So we simplified management of not just security but also SD-WAN by consolidating these various functions into the secure SD-WAN solution. It provides a single point of management for SD-WAN and security, together with ZeroTouch deployment capabilities, right? Plus best-of-breed functionality and performance in application steering and next-gen firewall protection. So the next question we ask ourselves, right, is can we do more than just consolidating the WAN and security? Right, next. So this is why, okay. Yes, okay, so this is why we have gone one step further to integrate wireless and switch controller capabilities into the SD-WAN, right, into the secure SD-WAN to form the SD branch. So SD branch consolidates your branch networking services. Right? The controller itself is consolidated into a single device, but it also gives you the flexibility to grow your network from one switch or AP to many. And this integration means you can make use of the access management, which is built into the FortiGate 40OS. And the most important outcome of this integration is your LAN ports and a wireless LAN are now viewed and managed as interfaces on the FortiGate. So what does this mean, right? This means you can directly gain visibility and control of your LAN and wireless LAN network from both networking and security perspectives. So lastly, all these consolidation and integration will simplify the deployment of your branch network, right? Which is an extension of the SD-WAN ZeroTouch deployment, right? And it provides you a single interface to manage SD-WAN, security and LAN and wireless LAN access, right, in a single pane of glass. Right? So in short, SD-Branch not only integrates access management through consolidation of branch services, but also secures it. Right, next. So let's now talk a little bit about how FortiGate manages the APs and switches, right? So they're called 40 APs and 40 switches. So the secret sauce here is really FortiLink, a communication protocol between the FortiGate and the 40 APs and switches. So what it does is simplify your access layer through automated provisioning. Right, once connected, the FortiGate automatically discovers the 40 switches and 40 APs. Right, this immediately gives you the visibility and analytics across the entire network, right, needed for security. So various deployment architectures are supported, and it allows you to scale as your needs change, right, further simplifying your operation and management. So, and because the FortiGate is now the wireless and switch controller, it allows you to implement that same security policies down to the port, right, the interface, and at the wireless LAN level. So for those of you who are managing many offices, right, across multiple locations, right, imagine how you will improve your daily work. In a single GUI console, you will have immediate visibility of your branches down to the switch port and the wireless LAN, plus the savings in time, right, and effort to implement security policies across all these locations. But this will, I think, truly improve your productivity and lower your total cost of ownership. Right? Not to mention that there is no additional license needed for all these functions. Right? So if you are existing FortiGate users, you already have these functions there, if you are not aware. All right. So next slide, please, Kelly. Okay. So in a nutshell, right, Fortinet's secure SD branch is about simplification, automation, and visibility of your office network. So by making use of the FortiGate as the core of your security and network, right, you can then manage your security when the 40 switch LAN, 40 AP wireless LAN, and endpoints on a single pane of glass. All right, Kelly, can you click it once? All right, so this is what you should be getting. Everything on a single device, all the functions into one FortiGate. Okay, and yeah, so you'll also be able to take advantage of the ZeroTouch deployment and security automation framework that is built into the FortiGate 40OS. Okay, next. Yes, so in a typical branch, right, this is how we will see it. The FortiGate provides security and SD-WAN networking, and acting as a switch and wireless controller. The 40 switch being the LAN, and the 40 AP, the wireless access points. We've also seen some branches, right, that need 3G or LTE access as a backup, and that's provided by the 40 extender, right? So because network managers like yourselves are expected to manage multiple office networks, a centralized NOC and SOC, NOC and SOC tool, right, that provides device management, network performance, security analytics via the FortiNet Manager and FortiNet Analyzer will be needed as well, as you can see there in the blue circle. So this gives you a complete integrated solution that delivers simplified management, gives you complete visibility and comprehensive security. Right, next slide, please. So, and when we say a single pane of glass view, right, of your entire network, this is what you should be expecting, right? FortiOS Security Fabric view on the FortiGate GUI itself, right, provides you a 360 visibility into your network traffic. Right, first, with secure SD-WAN CPE, right, which is the FortiGate. Kelly, can you help? Click once. All right, then next, the 40 switches that are managed by this FortiGate, the 40 APs. Yeah, and there's even the possibility, right, for you to extend this visibility down to the endpoints, right, with the 40 clients. So the security fabric view gives you the visibility all the way down to your wireless clients. Actually, not just your wireless clients, all connected clients, right? With a single click, you can view the traffic by source, destination, application, threat, right? Interface, device, policy, etc., etc. So, and you can also get a graphical visualization such as a country and topology maps, right? And volume-based bubble charts, right? In addition to table views. So all these allow you to identify issues quickly and intuitively. So if you realize what I've mentioned just now, right? There would be things that you would need as a network manager working in a NOC. There's also things that you can view that is important to you as a security manager, right? So things like applications and all that, probably the network manager would be more interested. Threats, source destination, or maybe the security manager may be more interested in this, right? So a single pane of glass for you to view both networking and security, right? So you may also wonder how this whole view, right, is generated. It is generated automatically as 40 switches and APs, 40 APs are added into the network. And the discovery was carried out by FortiLink, right, which I shared earlier on. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is more for the network managers, right? So many wireless network managers will also need deeper knowledge of their wireless network. And what better way than a pictorial representation, right, of the office layout. This is especially useful if you are managing many branches, right? So obviously you will not be able to remember each and every one. So you may not have even visited some of your branches, right? I think this is quite true for many. Right? So this location map will give you details of each AP that is managed by the FortiGate, right? Give you statistics for each AP, give information like client counts, channel utilization, etc., etc. Right? Next slide. So in summary, right? What does the FortiNet SD branch offer you? I would sum up in these 4 points, right? It delivers a flexible architecture that lets you consolidate the management and control of your network, yet at the same time is easily scalable. Number 2, it offers you security, allowing you to lock down all the way to individual switch ports and VLAN. Okay, and then from a management point of view, a single pane of glass management, giving you simplified management of LAN, WAN, and security. And ultimately, right, if you take all this into consideration, a low TCO from not just right, no licensing fees, but also importantly, time savings in management and administration of your network. All right. So in conclusion, next slide, please. Digital transformation is an ongoing effort. I think we all recognize that, right? Which will include the branch and office network. So while SD-WAN drives down costs while optimizing network performance, right? FORTINET Secure SD-WAN brings additional simplicity, visibility, and industry security, right? So, and we want to go one step further by consolidating the LAN and wireless LAN into the Secure SD-WAN, right, to form the FORTINET Secure SD branch. You can transform your enterprise distributed network into one that is secure, flexible, right? And ultimately, it has to be simple to operate for you, right? So thank you very much for your attention. So let me hand over the time now to Daniel, who will bring you through a simple demo. Daniel, over to you. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, VP. Okay, so before I start my demo, I just want to ask a couple of questions. Maybe just Kelly. Okay, so what is the reason for SD branch? Anyone? I think these are top 3 reasons for SD branch. Okay, one is simplicity of managing WAN and LAN. The other one is the consistent security across the branch, and of course, what CP had mentioned, lower total cost of ownership. But just make a quick guess, which is actually the top reasons that people will want to use FORTINET for SD branch. All right. Next slide, Kelly. Okay, so we actually make Kelly. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We have actually made a quick survey across the webinar, some of the webinar we conduct on SD branch, and the number 2, which is the consistency of security across the branch, is the most important reasons that most people will want to use it. All right. So just take note of that as the reasons. Okay. Next slide, Kelly. So as you see, a typical SD branch setup is what CP has mentioned. I think I take this slide back from him, is that there are many components that you can actually deploy. I mean, of course, the main components of it will be the FortiGate as consolidating the WAN link, and then if you find that, you will need to increase the number of wired connectivities or wireless connectivities or even WAN connectivities, you will be able to use some of the components that we can put together to form your SD branch setup. All right. Next slide, Kelly. So I shall just go on to the reference architecture for FORTINET software-defined branch architecture components. On the top layer, basically, for branch to get connectivity back to HQ or whatever, they will need WAN path, which is, your MPLS link, your broadband, or just internet lease line, or it could be the VLANs that you want to actually direct to from the branch all the way to HQ. So, and then next component that very important components is to have security service across the branch, right? So we have the FortiGuard, the FortiSandbox, or even the security rating service that is all put on top of this on a FortiGates to actually make you of all these security services. And then for ease of service, for ease of deployment, you will probably need the manager. Things like FortiManagers, SIEM, FortiSIEM, and analyzers to actually take all the logs and feeds, and so that you can orchestrate what is coming on, and you can automate what actions that you want to take from there. It could be just a simple, zero-touch deployment kind of concept. Like, you have 40 or 50 branches to take care. And all you need to do is just drop ship the box and then push on using the FortiNet managers to configure all the gates and then so on and so forth. All right. So this will actually form the application-aware layers across, whether be it you are using the Dropbox, your Citrix, Facebook, or the application important enterprise applications that will be handling across the WAN very seamlessly. All right. So on the middle layer, basically, you know, like what CP has mentioned, FortiGate is the core component. But, you know, if you want to actually expand your network, like, you know, putting an AP, a FortiSwitch, you can easily do it using the concept of FortiLink. Right? I'll show you the FortiLinks in a short while. And basically, the rest that in terms of identity-based policy, you can actually have your authentication services step on top with the two-factor authentications, and even you can do a simple sign-on kind of concept across the internet, right? And of course, these consolidations of all the service and logs, everything will actually fit onto the FortiGate, and based on our security fabric, that will actually form the whole concept, you know, bringing all the security in place. Like, you know, a very tight integrated solutions. Okay, so the value business proposition is basically improve the user experience. All right, you don't need a very fancy full IT teams that runs around different branches across your enterprise. Cost reduction is a next big thing, and broader visibility, and of course the network native integration is a very important key part of the SD-WAN architecture. All right, next slide, Kelly. So if you actually look at the whole big picture, right, you can actually build a SD-WAN across using your internet link, and of course you have a triple backup links, like sometimes some people will just have to have backup of 4G using mobile data, and that will actually help you to connect all the network seamlessly. And you can actually use the SD-WAN concept to actually load balance your traffic, or give priority for traffic that is more important to go across the which link over to the internet and users of all your services. All right. Okay. So next slide, Kelly. So this is a key thing, right? The fabric topologies actually help you very easily to identify, you know, if there's actually threats happening in one of the endpoint, and you can easily browse it through using the FortiViews and across the whole entire network. All right. Okay, so I will now go on to the demo. I have a very simple setup right here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Okay, so I hope that you guys can actually see a screen of this FortiGate at a branch. Physically, I have two APs that is connected to a FortiSwitch, right? And then the FortiSwitch in turn is actually connected to a very small little FortiGate 61E. Okay, and I have two clients that's actually going connected to two separate AP, and this will actually form the whole topology, a very simple topology, but you can actually expand it very quickly, as you know. For example, right now I have just connections to my internet. If what happens if the internet is down, I can actually stick a FortiExtender. FortiExtender would be actually very useful to make it as a backup line, and so that you can actually run your application across, the critical application across, if in the event of your link is down, right? So here you can actually see that they are all polling real time of the switch and the APs. Of course, I have another two APs that is down, so you're showing me in red color and telling me it's offline. All right, and let's take a look. I have a Wi-Fi client here. That's two. I'm using my mobile phone, and let's take a look at one of the users is using a Wi-Fi right now. You can see from here, it's actually connected to the SSID, and there's a lot of bandwidth actually running across here. So you can basically drill down to understand how what are the traffic source that's coming out from this particular endpoint, right? Basically, where the destination is going through. But if you are actually not looking at the destination, you might actually want to know what kind of application this is actually running. So we can see from here, very straightforward from this 4D view. I turn on the security profile for application control, and I can actually simply say, hey, well, this user is actually using a lot of Spotify, listening to music while he's working, right? So it's just a kind of way. I can even coming in from, which are the country that this guy is visited, and all the policies, what are policies that's allowed for this kind of guys to go across. So he's an employee coming from the Ethernet point of view, and basically I can further down, go down to the details of the Spotify, and actually. So these are all the very functionality of the 4D view in a very physical way to view and find the device very quickly. Of course, you can actually look at the logical view as well. All right. So the logical view will actually tell you about which VLANs or which gas network that the client is actually going across to the internet. All right. So how these are all linked together, as what CP mentioned, right? We have the controllers, which is what I call as Wi-Fi and switch controllers that are all integrated within the FortiGate. All right. So within FortiGate, I mean the first thing that we actually put in we have a switch. So this is the 40 links that is being connected directly onto the FortiGate. We're using one port 24. It's by default. When you plug in the switch, the port 24 will naturally be connected to the FortiGate. If the FortiGate has a link that is automatic set on dedicated for FortiSwitch, the switch will immediately get discovered and get authorized, and then you can actually do anything to the switch. For example, I have actually set up 4 VLANs, right, in this network that is connected to my FortiGate. So I created a dedicated link for the FortiSwitch, and within the FortiSwitch, with that link, I actually set up 4 different VLANs and I color them accordingly, right? So if you go back to the VLANs, you will be able to see that these are all the 4 VLANs that I can create very quickly and very simple. As you know, some of you have already used FortiGate before, creating a DHCP network and getting all the different security access. This is very simple things for just a piece of cake. But what is more important is that when the switch is already managed from the FortiGate, you will think of it become an integral of the FortiGate VLANs and ports. It's just an extension of port. So you can basically go into your switch, any of the ports. For example, now I only set up 4 ports. I can say, port number 5, I would just want to give it to a registration VLAN. All right? And basically that will quickly, all right, I click registration VLAN and I click OK. And then this port will actually go on the registration VLAN, which is VLAN 117. All right? And the next thing is that because we can actually put these users in the registration process so that you can actually do a network access controls over it in the future. So over here, we have turned on traffic discovery or device discovery, and immediately you can see all the device information that is going across here. Again, the switch PoE powered, so you can actually power up APs or for device that is PoE ready. So I have the two APs that is connected over here, and that will actually give you very simple connectivities and set up the network as quickly as possible. All right. Okay. So the VLAN, the ports, all this, we're looking at just one picture within the FortiGate. All right. Now on the 40 AP, this is where I set up my Wi-Fi. Right. If some of you have actually deployed 40 AP, all right, it's very simple. It's just like putting a port into the FortiGate, and for my case, we're actually putting a port onto the FortiSwitch, and FortiSwitch has a VLAN, and that VLAN is enabled for Cat Web. So we will be able to put the AP online. Again, once the AP is being discovered, they will actually naturally be authorized and be used for any SSID that you want to do it from here. Very simple. Whichever internet that you want to go, you can basically allow the AP based on the policy rules. And from here, you can actually set up a security file so that you can actually detect, traffic going in and out other than the IP address and ports available. Okay. All right. One thing that you can actually do some additional stuff, like, for example, let's imagine that you're running a retail business. All right, your customers are actually many restaurants that are going across. You want to know the traffic flows, that how many people have visited your shops, or your restaurants. All right, you can basically add a single function on the 40 AP as well. So on the 40 AP, basically, if you're going to the 40 AP, we can actually enable the presence analytics on the AP itself, right? So I have actually enabled a AP, this particular AP, and I actually enabled the 40 presence for this particular AP so that it actually will send the analytics information. If somebody actually walk into the restaurant, it will actually, the signal will be actually be associated or pick up from this AP, and we'll send it to our 40 presence cloud. All right, and that will give you a very nice little view on the 40 presence. All right, so the 40 presence, basically this is actually telling you, it's free. This service is free. Comes standard with as long as the AP support. We will send all the presence analytics up to the visitor, of the visitor coming in. So on hand, I just put in this morning, there are actually 43 people that are walking past the cubicles that I'm working on today for this demo. So this is actually a live data, and you can basically look at the floor analytics, right? For example, I can actually put a map here, and basically it will actually show, how many the heat map of the number of users that is populated in here. For example, I can actually see here, and I can track this particular user, and so it will actually give you a very simple way to understand, how many people actually have visited your branch, and taking the statistics across your network. All right. So it will show you many things, right? For example, number of visitors, number of repeated visitors, how much they have stayed in this place, and if you have a social media, because you can actually enable social media on the 40 presence, that means you put your APs to have a captive portal run by FortiPresence, it will actually get us the social media network of users, the connected users. And from the connected user, you'll be able to tell whether it's a male or females and those kind of statistics that is across the network. Okay? Now, so this is a free cloud presence analytics service as long as you have the 40 APs that is offered for FortiPresence. All right? And what CP has mentioned again, within the FortiGate itself, we will be able to show you the map as well. So it's the same map that I actually picked from my FortiPresence. There are 2 APs. So this will be able to sort of give you an understanding of, which particular AP, what is the, how many clients right now is using in this network. All right? And basically, you can actually position where your AP is, and they will actually give you very detailed information of which client has been connected to and what MAC address. And then from here, you can associate to, what kind of device identity over here. All right? Yeah. So, so that actually brings to the end of this demo. I hope you guys have understanding and how easy we can actually do the branch, SD branch, and all those concepts that you can put together using all the reference components. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Daniel, for the demo and CP for the presentation. Now, moving on to the Q&A, we do have a few questions coming from the audience today. Our first question comes from Ron. Ron is asking, can FortiGate control other brands of AP? That means it's non-FortiNet AP. Can our FortiGate control outside of our own solution? Daniel?
All right, so FortiGate will only control, even though FortiGate is able to talk using Cat Web, but the thing is that we only allow the 40 APs range of models that we can use to control. Yeah, so if you want to control a Aruba or maybe a Ruckus AP, all right, basically, we will not be able to put into the topology, but we will actually see that topology as the endpoint device from there. And of course, that is actually passing through the FortiGate. We will still be able to manage traffic that is coming up from that AP through that switch port, across. But the answer is no, we can't control other brands of AP. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, Daniel. Our next question comes from John. John is asking, how do you show endpoint information in the network slide?
How do you show endpoint information in the network? Okay.
Yeah. In the network.
So again, let me just go to the screen and let me share again. So how do you show, how do you actually allow us to show the endpoint, right, from there? So basically, if we created, for example, let's go to the VLANs that we have created. For example, I have the employee VLAN. And within the employee VLANs, when you create it, there's actually called a device detection from here. When you enable device detection, and on this particular interface, so anything that's coming out from this VLANs, we will be able to take all the information. But basically, from the endpoint device point of view, like you want to know the host name, you want to know IP address and MAC address, we usually use the most important thing, which is the DHCP fingerprinting on the endpoint. So if that fingerprinting is actually coming out from our DHCP server, we will use those information because the fingerprints actually give you a lot of information regarding the endpoint itself, IP address, MAC address, host name, and even the OS and all those stuff from there. Yeah. So I hope this actually answer your question.
Okay. And then third question comes from Jeff. Jeff is asking, can I use FortiNet AP and switches without FortiGate?
Oh, FortiNet, FortiAP and switches.
Yeah, FortiNet access point and switches without FortiGate.
Oh, without FortiGate.
Yeah.
Okay, standalone. It's possible because the AP can be a cloud AP. So unless if this AP, first of all, when it goes into the network, right? When it gets connected to the network, it will actually run a cat web protocol to look for a controller. But imagine if there's no controller, there's no FortiGate in there, it will actually go into look for our cloud controller. So again, if you actually set up the AP to go into your FortiAP cloud, it will be actually configured and managed all over from our cloud AP. So the answer is yes and no, right? Because there's no FortiGate, but you can still use the AP and use the AP as a cloud AP. So it's called a FortiAP cloud. And from there, you will be able to still use your AP to function like a controllerless kind of AP, right? We have a range of AP that we call the Smart AP, which is the S-Series AP. And that S-Series AP has the same functionality. That means you actually have the security profile or the security control, application control, IDS, IPS, and the antivirus and web filtering all built in within this AP itself. So maybe I can just show you about the Forti Cloud AP. That might actually give you more insight of what this security AP that we are talking about. Okay, so imagine we don't have a have to log into. We actually have a AP that is doesn't need to go into the Forti cloud, into the FortiGate. All right, so we have to use a Forti cloud as a platform. All right, so that let me log in first. Okay. So it's actually trying to log into my Forti cloud. Okay, so right now it's actually going to the Forti cloud. All right, and you can see from here, you can actually manage all your APs into different containers. And from here, if I select a network that I actually have my APs, I'm going to authorize my AP in there. And if I create an SSID, right? I hope you guys can see this. And the SSID can be configured to put in the security in here. So if you have an AP that is sort of a smart AP, we call it S-Series AP, you will be able to so-called monitor antivirus or even go to a website, select the category that you want. And this looks exactly the same as your FortiGate security profile, right? As you put in your policy. Just that it's minus off as a gateway, right? But as long as this AP is reachable to this Forti AP cloud, you will be able to control and select the AP and set up your wireless network, set up your captive portal, set up your self-registration network, and select your own, maybe your own radio server, everything. You can actually go in from here. So the answer is yes. If you have a FortiSwitch FortiGate and a FortiSwitch connected to your internet gateway, your FortiGate will be able to call home to your FortiCloud, and that will be able to put it as a wireless access network with even a security all tying together very strongly using the FortiGuard services. All right. So I hope this answers your question.
Okay, Daniel, we still have one more question coming from our audience, Ronald. Ronald is asking, is the number of branches an issue with this SD branch? Is the number of branches, is there any limitation in the number of branches with this SD branch technology?
We have a very big deployment of about 4,000. It's actually in Europe. That's heavily using the SD branch concept. What they have is that the only limitation I would see would be how many branches you want to manage across using a FortiManager. So a FortiManager is actually basically managing all your device elements, right? And so if you actually you have to plan very well, not having just putting one FortiManager to manage all these few thousand branches. You might actually want to split over to different FortiManagers and to actually manage them. But if you actually, we have customers like almost like 1,000 branches, right? It's actually a supermarket chain, something like 7-Eleven kind of shop. They will actually have running FortiManagers, running FortiAnalyzers, and then all the branches having the SD-WAN consolidated back to the HQ, running IPsec VPN, so that traffic, if they really need applications from the data center, like the authentication, maybe the sandboxing or whatever that going across, they will still be able to view. Just that the bandwidth itself, we have to be having some leeway for the bandwidth to go across from there if the applications are very huge. But most of the time, the SD branch, like for example, your SaaS applications, right? Maybe your Dropbox or your AWS network that you want to go across, it will just do a speed tunnel and goes up to your normal internet link. Instead of everybody consolidate back to your HQ and then goes to the HQ internet. All right. So it's just a way how you plan your application. Again, we have all the SD-WAN concept, right, for optimizing the application or traffic to give the best path across to what link and to your backup link. So those are the things that we can actually help to make this large deployments a very simple way across your enterprise. Okay.
Okay. Our next question comes from a FortiNet FortiGate user, Clarence. He's asking because all his firewalls are FortiGate. Will he be able to see remote firewalls connected via IPsec VPN in a logical view?
Question again. He's a FortiGate user, right?
Yeah, FortiGate user. So he's asking, will he be able to see all the remote firewalls connected through IPsec VPN tunnel in a logical view?
In a logical view. That will actually have to look from the. Let me see. The question is actually we'll have to put it into. That means the HQ box, the central box that is connected all the branch FortiGate using IPsec. Will he be able to see that in the logical view?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think it should be fine. If you look at okay, I'm still on my screen share, right? So if we have the security fabric and the logical view, you should be able to see over here a lot of bubbles and charts or the FortiGate device that is coming back to this HQ. Imagine this is a HQ. He'll be able to see from there. Yeah. So I'm not sure that will help to answer. But if you want to look at the more pictorial view, let's say if it's like few hundred sites, then the FortiNet managers, if I'm not wrong, because I'm actually not in that aspect of that for that reason, the FortiNet manager should be able to actually give you all the logical topologies of all the IPsec tunnels that are coming back to the HQ. So I'm not sure this helps to answer. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. We still have questions coming in. So,
okay.
Yeah, Ron is asking, other than SD-WAN load balancing and CPN tunnel link redundancy, can SD-WAN perform WAN optimization as well?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
Yeah. CP.
Daniel, you want me to take that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So the quick answer is yes. The FortiGate itself, FortiOS, right, it supports SD-WAN application QoS based kind of routing. And it also supports WAN optimization, right, using methods like data dedupe, byte caching, and all that. So that is already, that kind of WAN op function is already inside FortiOS, right, for many years. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel and CP, and thanks to all of you for dialing in and sitting into this webcast. This is all the time we have for today. If your questions was not answered during our live Q&A, we will try to answer them on email to you in the next few days. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you in our next webcast which is on touching on the Internet of Things, as we will share in depth on how you can say goodbye to IoT security worries. It's happening on the 22nd of May at 11 a.m. Singapore time. With that, we would like to say goodbye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Bye-bye.